This year will mark the 50th anniversary of President Richard Nixon severing America and the world from its last tie to the gold standard. The rapid devaluing of the dollar is the most obvious result. But another consequence has been an enormous national debt that continues to grow at a staggering pace. Most people don't realize it, but this is a direct and intentional result of the current fiat money system. In 1971, Nixon put the final nail in the coffin of the gold standard. But President Franklin D. Roosevelt put us on the path. On April 5, 1933, Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102. It was touted as a measure to stop gold hoarding, but it was in reality a massive gold confiscation scheme. The order required private citizens, partnerships, associations, and corporations to turn in all but small amounts of gold to the Federal Reserve in exchange for $20.67 per ounce. This infamous executive order was just one of several steps Roosevelt took toward ending the gold standard in the U.S. With the dollar tied to gold, the Federal Reserve found it difficult to increase the money supply during the Great Depression. It couldn't simply fire up the printing press as it can today. The Federal Reserve Act required all notes have 40% gold backing. But the Fed was low on gold and up against the limit. By stealing gold from the public, the Fed was able to boost its gold holdings. Executive Order 6102 followed on the heels of an order Roosevelt issued just weeks before, prohibiting banks from paying out or exporting gold. Just a month after the enactment of Executive Order 6102, the U.S. effectively went off the gold standard when Congress enacted a joint resolution erasing the right of creditors to demand payment in gold. Then, in 1934, the government's fixed price for gold was increased to $35 per ounce. This effectively increased the value of gold on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet by 69%. By increasing its gold stores through the confiscation of private gold holdings and declaring a higher exchange rate, the Fed could circulate more notes. In effect, the hoarding of gold by the government allowed it to inflate the money supply. President Richard Nixon laid the gold standard to rest for good when he slammed the gold window shut, severing the last ties the dollar had to gold. Nixon uncoupled gold from its fixed $35 price and suspended the convertibility of dollars into gold by foreign governments and central banks. At this point, the dollar became effectively free-floating, measured only by comparing it to other fiat currencies. According to the Consumer Price Index data released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the dollar has lost more than 80% of its value since Nixon's fateful decision. Meanwhile, the dollar value of gold has gone from $35 an ounce to over $1,800. This is considered an acceptable trade-off because a free-floating currency is exactly what the government needed. It would be impossible to fund the American welfare and warfare state with a currency constrained by gold. With the dollar untethered from any fixed standard, Uncle Sam could create as many dollars as it pleased in order to fund all of its massive social and military programs. With a free-floating fiat currency, the U.S. government can borrow as much money as it needs, knowing that the central bank will always be there to monetize the debt and backstop the spending. And that's exactly what has happened. To put this into perspective, in 1960, the national debt was just a little over half the size of the U.S. economy. This is clearly unsustainable. But the U.S. isn't about to go back onto a gold standard, and Joe Biden isn't going to rein in the spending. In fact, he will almost certainly ramp it up. What little fiscal restraint that existed has been washed away by using COVID and vaccines as the excuse. This is not good for the future of the U.S. economy. At some point, the money printing game will come to its inevitable end. At some point, the inflation monster will take over and the dollar will crash. For now, we're left with the current monetary system of unlimited money printing, which in turn makes each US dollar less valuable and each ounce of gold more valuable. So what does all this mean? Don't expect or wait for the government to do the right thing by being fiscally responsible. If Nixon closed the gold window to the world 50 years ago, then hopefully you understand the importance of reopening your own gold window. Whether gold or silver, the most important financial stabilizer to preserve your wealth. It also happens to be the very same asset other governments such as China and Russia have been saving at an alarming rate for the last 20 years. The United States is no longer the largest holder of gold. There is no gold in Fort Knox. Uncle Sam no longer has any reserves to fall back on. It gives me great comfort that the followers of this channel already realize the importance of sound money. But just in case you are new to the channel, open your own gold window by getting your weight up and put yourself on a sound money standard for savings. Thanks for tuning into this video today. Click the thumbs up and join us for the next news update tomorrow.